Welcome back, everybody. It's Thursday, September 4th. We are together again. Thank you for joining us, and we will be together again September 18th, talking about the divine masculine. But tonight we're excited to talk about a very relevant topic that's going to affect all of us to varying degrees. That's what I was just chatting about with our group here. Uh, the eclipses that are we're really officially in the orb of these eclipses. The energy is here right now, and it really started at least a month ago. So let's take a step back. We'll talk about the eclipses that are about to happen in September, but why don't we take a step back? Have you ever thought about, you know, I don't know, let's say 1988 through, 19 uh, 1986 to 1988. Those were years where a lot happened, where, you had a baby, or you got a divorce, or you moved across the country, or you got your master's, or you met the love of your life, or you had a car accident, all kinds of stuff that happens to us, right? Some of these things can happen to us internally and we feel them. There's no denying that. But a lot of times it's events that catapult us into those internal changes. And eclipses is one of those times. And the reason why I said 86 to 88, it's an 18-month, it's really, to be more specific, it would have been 1986 to 87.5. But just when I think about, like, I did this not too long ago. Okay, 2009 through 2011, huge years for me. So much change. 15 through 17, everything changed. What was going on? How come so much changed for me? Um, eclipses. Now, I did have transits, just as you all do as well, and you'll continue to have those. But eclipses are the points of release and manifestation, release and manifestation. So, you're walking along and you have these transits, and they absolutely affect us, and we know that because we talk about that, all the time. But eclipses are another version of it's almost like, transits on steroids. Uh, and so what is an eclipse? So eclipses are when the moon is conjunct either the south node or the moon or the sun are conjunct the north or south node of the north or south node.
During a lunation.
Right. So that's what makes it an eclipse. Really, a lunar eclipse, it's just a full moon. So a solar eclipse is just a new moon. But at that time, when we have an eclipse, like we're about to, September 7th, that means that with that full moon this September, right next to it, within I want to say it's 3 to 5 degrees, that there's a formula where you can consider it an eclipse. I think it's 3. That's what makes it an eclipse, because that's not always the case. Usually we would just have a new moon and a full moon like we do every month. So
I'm
that's
sorry, Claudia, what's next to it?
the nodes. So yeah, either the north node or the south node is going to be next to that full moon or the sun.
One of the luminaries.
Correct.
Claudia,
Yeah.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Aren't the nodes actually like an elliptical line
Yes.
around the Earth? And
right.
one is when it's going up and when it's going down, and so they crisscross each other at 2 different points. And so are they both touching that specific point at a lunar eclipse?
I don't
Well,
think
keep in mind, they are just mathematical points. They
Yeah,
are
but
not.
they are physically, I mean, we physically see that it's blocking the sun. So I'm just wondering
Yeah.
if that
That's not because
mathematical point is also that point at which it's happening, maybe? No?
So the nodes are not, the nodes themselves are points. Say, for example, if I say, look at the sunset, it's a point on the horizon, but it's not like it's like a latitude and longitude. It's right there. Like New York City is boom, right there. It's like
but it's not a piece of stone or it's not
right,
something floating
a
in the
point in the
atmosphere.
ecliptic. It's
It's
just a
So
point.
totally mathematical. It has to do with where the moon's path intersects with a
the sun path.
um
Oh, it's other path during the rest of the year?
does it have to do with the equator that it's
No,
no, it's
it's the
So
some
moon.
it's not
The
out of
something
moon's
bounds
the
path.
either.
moon when it is circulating around a part of the earth that is hitting something that is in relationship to the earth that I cannot remember what it is.
I want to say it's the ecliptic. I'm going to find a graphic that is going to explain this, and hopefully,
Oh, I think you're right. The ecliptic is what I was first going to say.
yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah,
It's
moon,
real obvious when you see the picture. It's like
right,
yeah. Oh, I
two
know, I
hula
know.
hoops are
Yes.
intersecting.
Yes,
right.
yes. And it'll really, yeah, I'm gonna try to find it like as we speak.
Yeah.
So we can get a visual of it. But in essence, the eclipses come along twice a year, and Diane had a great question. They usually come in pairs, well, they always come in pairs. You'll have one uh, on a certain day, and 2 weeks later, you'll have the other one. And then a few months down the line, you'll have another set. There are years there you'll have more than two sets. You'll have 5 or 6 eclipses. That's not common, but it happens.
Right.
So when we think about eclipses, you're going to go look, and I'm not sure if Rick put it in the chat yet, but,
I
or,
did.
okay, excellent. I would encourage you to go in there and I would take your chart, whether it's on your phone, on your laptop, physical printout, and just pick a time in your life that you thought stuff was really something significant happened. Eclipses are not going to be, hey, I had lunch with my friend. No, eclipses are going to be, I moved across the country with my friend. And, the
A
transits
significant
are,
death,
yes,
a life-changing accident, the birth of a child,
Hmm.
yeah,
there's all kinds of large things. It depends on how it affects you. So
yeah,
look at those big events, and I would just look at what were the eclipses that year doing in your life. And it may not be that you find a planet your chart that's on the eclipse point. It could be the opposite of the eclipse point.
mhm.
So keep that in mind as well.
So I had this when I told you recently, 2009, there was an eclipse at 11 degrees of Aquarius that summer. And I, at that point, wasn't really into astrology the way I am now. But then so I'm looking for eclipses in Leo, because I'm a Leo. That eclipse was at 11 degrees of Aquarius. And like Rick just said, my sun is at 12 degrees of Leo. And that's a relationship as axis. So the opposite of, I'm looking at Erica right now. She's a Taurus, right? So
Mhm.
Scorpio would be her opposite. Diane, Libra would be your opposite. Jane, Libra would be your opposite. Marsha, Cancer would be your opposite. That is big for you. So it's not always going to be your sign. So what happened? My marriage was done.
Hmm.
Like I knew that my marriage, I mean, looking back, I'm thinking, oh, it's Leo, it's got to be Leo. No, it's the other things that we're not looking at that we go, oh, it's the oppositions and the squares, and sometimes the trines, but it's the oppositions and squares that are going to give you that, oh,
Tension.
It's time to change. It's
It's
time
it's
to
a tension
change.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah. Trines and sextiles are much more gentle. They're
yes.
supportive. They might be
Conj-
so light and airy you forgot what happened.
Yeah, yeah. Conjunctions are also a big deal. So,
Yeah.
if Jane has something at 15 degrees of uh, Aries and there is an eclipse at 16 degrees of Aries, that's a big deal. I like to be, and Rick, you tell me what you think about this. So when I look at these, I don't give for eclipses, I usually give about a 3 degree orb. I don't like to go too far out, and I don't like to have too many rules, but that's one that I go, the tighter the better.
Um, you know what? I probably would keep a general type orb, but at the same time, if it is a little bit wide, I would explain this is the type of
You'd
thing
consider
that a
it.
sensitive person might feel and go ahead and interpret it anyway,
Yeah,
because the person sitting you in front of you with the chart and their lived experience can sometimes be so sensitive to the subject matter of that house or that sign or planetary involvements. I mean, we're looking at orb in maybe just looking at orb directly right there. But what
Mhm.
about the orbs of the planets around the zodiac? We can easily forget to look at those and something could be in play.
Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking about that this afternoon after we talked. I can't remember what brought me. Oh, it was one of my kids' charts. I was thinking about other planets. So is something squaring your Mercury, or is something right on your Mars, or is the eclipse, you know, trining your Venus or squaring your Venus, that kind of thing.
Or
It's not just,
opposing Pluto.
yeah. So as he says in this ominous tone, because
Straight
we
from the
know.
underworld.
So I want to pause for a minute because I want to make sure that you're tracking, and I don't, I know that you are all here, but I want to make sure that before we move on, you get the gist of eclipses in general.
Right.
Because this applies to any eclipse, and we're going to have them every year. That doesn't mean every year your life's going to change, but it just means what's going on. I like to look at, that's how I learn, is just look at the people in my life. Oh, okay, so and so, my friend so and so, it's opposing her son. And then I just watch. I don't, how is that playing out for her, him, whoever?
I'll
Um,
tell you something that might be interesting. Take an entire family who loses a family member and look at how those eclipses affect the different family members. I wonder who's going to show it affecting the most hard hit individual in the family.
yeah.
You know, maybe
Mm-hmm.
there's three kids, but the oldest was closest to grandma.
Mhm.
You know, maybe it was the baby. You
Right.
know, who knows what the experience was? Maybe it was one of the parents' siblings. You know, how's that going to work out?
Yeah.
You know, family charts, a family, comparing the charts in a family can be very fascinating.
Oh, yes. Because
Uh,
there's usually so much karma. There's so
mhm.
many uh interwoven lessons,
Dynamics.
dynamics. Sometimes, let's face it, every family has their thing, their story, their own flavor of dysfunction. And if you don't, wonderful, good for you. But
Mhm.
I've only met one of those.
And how much do you know they weren't
I know, I
suppressing?
know, I know. Every family, yes. And what I like to look at is like, you know, times like this. In fact, I know a family who's got like 3 Virgos. And I'm looking at them and I'm going, wow, look at all, and I know that somebody in the family has a big change coming up. So they're all being affected by this change.
Mm.
You know, I'm not living their lives, I don't know, but I can tell stuff is happening in that family, and that's their chart. Like they all are experiencing it. They all
And
have,
there's an inheritance sometimes you uncover. Like, I know a mother with two children. All three of them have Pluto in the 12th house.
really,
So born at different times of the year,
yeah.
but because of the time of day, they came into this incarnation and they're all dealing with Plutonian issues.
Wow. And in the 12th house is pretty,
Right?
I've never seen a Pluto in the 12th house. Okay, so why don't we get started on this eclipse? So this eclipse is the first one is September 7th. And I want to say there's at least a month and a half influence before and after. Oh, after, it doesn't even have to be after. It's months. This plays out for months. So I like to think of it like a storyline that's being told. So this storyline that's being told started January 12th for the Pisces and the Virgos and the mutable signs. Um, Let me backtrack. I don't want to say Pisces and Virgos. I want to say when the nodes went into Pisces and Virgo, and we're all affected by this, that began January 12th of this year. And it's going to end, it's going to change on July 26th of next year. So those 18 months, that story is unfolding for all of us being affected severely by this. I mean, for we're all going to be affected to some degree. Some of us a lot. So it's not just, oh, boom, the eclipse came and all of a sudden, I have to go to the hospital or I won the lottery. That's not it. It's you're going to have a series of things happening around this theme in your life, wherever your Pisces and your Virgo house is. But also, if you're a mutable sign, are you a Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces? These are four signs that are going to be really affected because they're going to have a 90-degree angle um to the nodes, which are the Pisces and Virgo axis. Are we tracking? Yes. Thank you, Eric. So the last time this happened, okay, was in June. Think back to June of 2006 to December of 2007. That is the last time these eclipses were here. This
The
in
dynamic of these
signs.
pairs.
Yep. And maybe nothing happened that you recall that was that significant. Or maybe it did, and maybe I don't know, or maybe it affected you in maybe your brother had something going on. But in any case, something's coming back around. Is the same stuff going to happen? No. Is the same stuff not at all? We have different planetary activity than we did at that point. So I'm just saying every 18 and a half years, the same uh, eclipses will come around, not in the same degrees, but in the same signs. And so you're revisiting something. So you may not be revisiting in a bad way. Maybe maybe you're getting a reward this time, or maybe you're manifesting something where at that point you weren't ready for it. Maybe you had to close something out. Maybe you had to let go of a way of thinking or let go of that house that you were so attached to because your parents built it and you became a hoarder. And it's that kind of thing where you have this attachment to something and then there's a break. There's there's a big break. So September 7th is the first one, and this one is a total lunar eclipse. So I'm going to bring up the chart and I will show you. September 7th. Do we have any Pisces here today? Night? No. We have Capricorn, Taurus, Aries, and Aries, and a couple of Leos. All right. I'm going to share my screen. You tell me if you can see this, okay? Because it looks small, right? Like it looks like a square inside a bigger screen. It's
Yeah.
small. It's small. Okay. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this so you can see it better. Sorry about that. Okay. This is the chart for um the eclipse on the 7th. So the
Your
energy
audio is down, Claudia. Your audio is sort of down.
really.
I think it got better when you moved closer, though.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought it was me.
Claudia,
Okay.
sometimes it happens, like at the moment it's happening, and I've noticed it prior. You can still hear you really in the background, and then all of a sudden it gets loud.
Oh,
I've
really?
heard that too before.
It may be an audio setting.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't.
You're back now.
Yeah, you're not
Okay.
moving. You didn't move that time either, so.
All right. So if it happens again, let me know. So, you should see the chart on the screen. Uh, this is set for Greenwich, England, which is where we like to pull our charts. It doesn't, the the location doesn't much matter. It's the aspects that the planets are making. So I encourage you not to get so bogged down with this very particular chart, but you see the planets are all going to be placed in different houses if you say live in, Dallas. So here we are. If you let me get my little pen out. I love using a little pen. I feel like a proper teacher. So, okay, you see that? That's where the action is. So that's 15 degree. The moon is going to be at 15 degrees of Pisces. And see the little headphone? That is the north node. That is what makes it an eclipse. So this eclipse would be called a north node eclipse because the north node is conjuncting it. The next one is going to be a south node eclipse. So what you want to do is you want to look where is 15 degrees in your chart. And in fact, I would encourage you to look for 15 degrees. Okay. And if you find anything around 15 degrees,
Pay
then
attention to
figure out,
that.
yeah, then consider that. Is it in Virgo, Gemini, Pisces, or Sagittarius? Or is it in Cancer and Scorpio? That's a trine. Is it in
Which this particular chart does have a grand water. Is there a grand trine in this one? No, maybe I'm thinking of a different chart I've been looking at.
Yeah. So
All the charts.
yeah, I would ask you to look at that's the first thing I look at is the look for numbers. 15 degrees. Anything around 15 degrees? Okay, then go further. If you see nothing around 15 degrees, then you know this might not be hitting you all that or influencing you. I should stop using that word. Influencing you that that closely. So
Snuggling with you.
yeah. So I have 16 degrees of Jupiter in my chart. Rick has another close, he's got his Saturn conjuncting this
At
eclipse
16.
at 16 degrees. Those are close. That's 1 degree away. So I would ask myself, wow, where is this? What's going on? So these could be trigger points for him and I.
And my Chiron is at 21 degrees of Pisces.
Oh yeah.
So it's within 3 degrees of the
I
node.
think we found something else. So let's look at the chart for the eclipse, because this is how it will affect the collective. We're going to talk about how it affects you personally, but this is, we're all going to feel a sense of something with this eclipse.
Happening again.
Oh no.
Now you're back.
Oh.
Hey, if you do you know where to find your audio settings?
Yeah, you know what to do.
Now you're recording.
So let's look at this chart again. We had a little bit of audio problems. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Very
okay.
good.
Let's keep this going. So you're looking at the chart and you're looking at where 15 of Pisces is. So for the collective, not for everybody personally, think about what Pisces represents and what it's not really about, oh, the Virgo part is this bad part. It's really more about what are we learning that we need to let go of in that Virgo area, right? So it's I like to think about using the best of those signs. So, really getting more connected to your faith, your belief, your healing, and being more in the state of intuition as opposed to that, you know, monkey mind, critical, perfectionistic, and one that needs to have this grounded, I have to have it like this, right? And I'm making it sound bad on purpose because with the South Node being in Virgo, it's the thing that you must look at in yourself that go, where am I doing that in my life? And how am I doing that in my life? And how am I doing that in this area of life? Because these are great times to make changes. The energy is helping us to make these changes in our life, like big time.
And
So,
I would also add that with Mercury 5 degrees away from the sun, it's definitely going to emphasize mercurial Virgo-based thinking. So precision, possibly some critical attention that might be
mhm,
specific and particular and demanding.
yeah,
So it's very based in an earthly expression, whereas Pisces is more in a spiritual expression.
right. And this eclipse is going to encourage us to look at because it's a North Node eclipse, to look at the Pisces side, and it's not to negate or vilify the Virgo side. It's just to understand it and go, oh, how can I really live my life in a more fulfilling way with not having to, beat up on the Virgo side, but
Mhm.
knowing, hey, I do that. I do acknowledge that that is something that I tend to lean towards when, say I'm stressed or I'm tired, or I do that with my partner, those Virgo qualities. Letting that part, breaking those habits, breaking those patterns, this energy helps us. In fact, that's exactly what it's here to do, is to get you to pay attention to, this is the side you're leaning towards. This is the side that's going to bring you that fulfillment and healing. And that we all have something in our lives that brings out shadow parts of ourselves. And in this case, if if it's hitting you personally, it's going to show up more prominently. But it's going to ask you, even if it's not hitting you specifically by degree, where am I causing myself to hold myself back with those Virgo qualities, as in, I need to do it perfectly. I have to have it all together. I must have it all lined up in just such a way where you're holding yourself back. It's like if I said, well, I have a perfect example. Well, if I said, I don't know, I want to do a marathon but I'm not ready. I won't be ready for another, 5 years. Why? I'm the one holding myself back. Why can't I just do a walkathon, 6 months from now? Or work towards it. Don't hold your own self back with limitations that are going to be of the mind. Virgo
Right.
is of the mind. Pisces is of the heart and the spirit. And that's where that's where you're going to get the most. That's where you're going to get pivoted into, because these are pivot points. These are when these things come around, these eclipses come around, these are points of, I really feel like God is taking me by the hand and saying, "Oh, I see what you're doing, but let me put you over here instead. Let's just go just a little bit this way." And sometimes, we kind of, we're the ones that go, "No, no, but I want to be over here." Or I want to do it this way. And we have to let go of that. We have to let go, because Pisces is about belief, it's about faith, and it's about really honoring that unseen part of ourselves, that is driven by what you feel in your spirit and in your heart. Whereas Virgo is understanding of the mind, which is, it's not a bad thing. It's just that this one is asking us to go, okay, let's go towards the intuition, and that's going to get you the, I don't want to say rewards, but more fulfillment, and more kind of like living like you're living your life, consciously, which is, that's what I
More
kind
north nodal.
of, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
And the moon is the receptive side. So you're receiving something, some light through that.
yeah, so usually when we have these eclipses, there is going to be a beginning and an end. It doesn't have to be a beginning and an end that's this drastic thing, but it can be. And when we say, even when we talk about, having a baby, what a beautiful time, right? What a wonderful thing to happen to anybody, but you are letting go of that person that either had no children or had, one less child, or everything that comes along with having that child. It's not bad that you have to let go of that other. Maybe you're not going to go out with your friends as much. Maybe you can't take that class at night the way you thought you would. Maybe you're going to have to, your marriage is going to change, but you are going to get a baby. So it's not necessarily bad. It's just, you are going to change. Your life will change, obviously. So that's how you have to try to think about it, instead of, the loss, the focusing on the loss. Oh, and this one, oh my gosh, let me get my pen out for this one. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Doesn't that is so,
Beneficial.
yeah. Does anybody know why that's beneficial, but not Rick?
Jupiter.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's trining, it's making a nice angle to Jupiter.
Which is the ruler of Pisces on
Yes.
top of it.
Hmm.
And it's a mutual reception, because then Cancer is the ruler of the moon.
Right.
So if you have anything, I'd say, I personally would say, if you have anything from like, like 11 or 12
Probably anything in the middle decan of the water
of the
signs
water signs.
is
Yep.
going to benefit.
It's going to be that good stuff, or at least something where,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you may you may find that things are going to come easier. Something's going to fall on your lap, possibly.
I have a Neptune in 17 degrees Scorpio.
Oh,
So it rounds out
and
that into a grand trine.
yep, yep. So that is really lovely. And in fact, um, actually, Rick was telling me this afternoon how he heard somebody talk about how it's pretty significant that Saturn is about to retrograde. So Saturn's been in Aries, and
It's retrograde in this chart.
yeah, and it's retrograde, on September 7th. I want to say it went September 1st, or it doesn't matter. It's retrograde.
Somewhere it was this week.
Oh yeah, recently. So it's going from Aries, the beginning of Aries, to the end of Pisces. And Saturn, I know it's 15 degrees away, but Saturn may add a touch of that helpful uh, discipline and like a healthy dose of seriousness to following this, you know, spiritual and more heart-based way of being in whatever part of your chart this is falling. Um, and actually putting in, for example, like this is falling in my 10th house and it's close to my Jupiter. I may have to put in some work and it's going to actually, something may actually fall in my lap, but the Saturn being there, it's going to help it, give it some bones and some structure to it in a healthy way. Um, so it'll be beneficial in that way.
Maybe even helping people to wrap up and finish things that they were doing with the Pisces energy. Now that Saturn is back there, it might be a great time with this
Yeah.
full moon experience to go ahead and
Yep.
really give it a last hammer in the nail.
Yes. Hammer in the nail is a good way to put it. Um, we do have also, we've got this going on. We've got Pluto at 1 degree during the time of the eclipse, and we've got Uranus at 1 degree. And that's also very beneficial energy. This is energy that's infused in this chart. So this is,
Yeah.
I mean, talk about like the ability to collectively right now actually really do things in a more meaningful and different and uh, innovative, but also really powerful way. This is very, very powerful, very, very meaningful for really for us collectively. So this is, I mean, if you have something in the air signs, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, at early degrees, this is going to be trining it. This is going to be another beneficial way of looking at this. If you have something squaring this, even squares, and I got this from Stephen Arroyo. He said something really interesting that I always try to keep in mind. Squares, number one, squares are just, they need adjustment and they need effort. Okay. But sometimes we may have to make use of squares. We need the squares to get us going. If we don't have squares, you just kind of think everything's going to come easily to you. And that's just not so. So challenging times are more difficult because you're used to having things easy. If you don't have any squares, some of the most amazing people in the world have a bunch of squares because they're forced to pull from within, like severely.
Well, the friction always keeps you moving.
Yeah, yeah. So if you have something that's like early fixed signs or even early mutable, it's going to square either Pluto or Uranus. But that could be the help that you need. That could be the thing that goes, no, no more. I'm gotta change this. I've got to realize that this is something I've got to do something about. You know what I'm saying? Is there anything else here? Now we are having, this is a square, okay? This one has Mars squaring Jupiter. So this is
And
an,
it's actually also opposite Chiron.
there's,
So that is a T square with Jupiter as the,
yeah, as the apex.
yeah.
Your sound is getting strange again.
Yeah.
Mine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doggone it. I'm sorry, guys.
Hello there, Linda Jordan. So
Hello
good of you to make it. Thank you.
So this actually reminds me of a story that Linda Sprague, I can't see who's on right now. I don't think she's here yet, but she let us know about this story about, I think, some women protesting, not protesting, but having some sort of demonstration. I'm not sure what was going
In
on
DC.
in DC yesterday.
Yeah.
The Epstein survivors.
That's
Okay.
right, Erica.
Yeah.
They were exposing and bringing attention in a big way. And it is not just Chiron. You could certainly see the effect of Eris just moving it on through, And who can be surprised that Mars is in Libra, a sign renowned for justice, you know? So that makes a lot of sense that
I
it would
know.
show
That's
up.
quite, yes. And Libra is ruled by Venus.
And Marjorie Taylor Greene showed up with them as well as Bobert, which was a true shock to me.
It was very shocking. But
Yeah,
a good
because
shock, a
a
good,
good
shock.
shock. She was standing up for the women and she was standing up for, transparency.
Yeah.
I was shocked that she was
This
saying those
is
words.
very unexpected, yes.
Yes, yes. She seemed
so
like a normal human being for once.
um that right there is very telling of that kind of activity where it's like, people standing up for what is right, what is
Right,
just,
right.
especially women, as we talked about last time we met, right?
Mm-hmm.
They
So
said
this
that
is,
they're got their own list that they're compiling because they don't want to release the list. They said they're writing their own list because they remember the names.
Is that
But they're
right?
not
Well,
they're
they
not
were the
showing the
victims.
names yet. Yes.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah.
When the
Interesting.
victims unite, they have the list.
It was on the news all day yesterday.
Yeah.
In one way or another. And
So
probably today too.
I want to throw another interesting, weird one in there to get people talking. I mentioned Saturn and Chiron in my chart.
mm-hmm.
I actually have five other planets in my chart making contact with this particular eclipse. I have Mars at 21 degrees Libra, so it's having a Mars return.
Uh-huh.
I have a stellium of Uranus, Venus, and Pluto at 13 and 14 degrees Virgo. And I have my sun and my ascendant at 13 and 14 degrees of Leo. When there's that much playing around, it can't help me but wonder, what might be going on here? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm just curious if other people happen to look at these points. Do you recognize in your chart where some of these could be significant? We'd be happy to go ahead and maybe take a look at a chart here and there if you want to go ahead, if any of you have some sensitive points.
Do we have any Virgos or Pisces? No. Okay. Now remember, I'm breaking my own rule. because I said you don't have to be, doesn't have to be your son, and here I am going, is anybody?
A
So,
Cancer placement that would be connected to Jupiter or something in Capricorn in that degree area.
yeah. Let me bring up, and we're gonna go through these really quickly because I wanna also take the time to go through the other one. So,
Yeah.
let me bring up Jane's chart. Jane. All right, so immediately I'm looking for 15 degrees of anything. Okay.
Saturn.
With
Yes.
Saturn in Sag.
Yep.
Okay. So this would be a square. So this would be a square because Pisces forms a square, which is a 90-degree angle in this case, almost 90-degree, but that's gonna that's gonna ask of you, what's going on for you. Okay, Pisces, where is I'm looking at your chart, I'm trying to remember it, but it's right here. Okay, yeah, so look, Pisces 15 degrees would be right around here. Okay. So this is your second house and it's squaring Saturn in this house. So there's something going on where perhaps this will have to do with making an adjustment around your way of thinking, around your self-worth.
That's just coming up so much lately. So yes, that makes sense. That makes huge sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's some deep healing happening. It's just fantastic.
well, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see how she's having a square, but what a good attitude to have about squares, because a lot of times I tell people squares, they go, oh no, why me?
Well,
And
you
then
also
it's
can't
not so.
erase. You cannot erase that this is also specifically the point of the moon and the north node. So it's really highlighting her karmic understanding, Saturn in Sagittarius. So Saturn's maybe going to be a little bit more freedom giving. Maybe it
Mm.
won't be so constraining. This isn't the first time she's had Saturn triggering her Sagittarius at this age. It's been around there. She's gotten through some of these things. She's experiencing it a little differently.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, it's not necessarily easy, but I think what you're saying, Claudia, is that I'm more aware
Mhm.
of what I have. Well, I'm finding out more and listening more to what I have to do, but looking internally at my own heart rather than anything outside. It'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see Diane's, um, because
I
we've
think,
got
See where she is. Yeah.
similar time.
Right.
So anyway,
Right.
yeah, thank you.
yeah, that would even give you, like I'm saying, though, a little bit of freedom to let go and be a little more humorous about it. Don't take yourself so seriously
That's
because
so good.
Sagittarius is definitely a fun-loving jokester at times. Their humor can be at the worst possible time.
Oh, I
So,
love that. Thank you. I love that. Anyway, yes,
Yes.
I love humor, and yes, I have to. I'm certainly very much more aware of not taking it myself so seriously and making sure that I have more laughs in my life. So
Yeah.
thanks, guys.
Sometimes, I have to tell you, this is so trivial, but sometimes when I feel down or when I have in the past year, um, and I've been really struggling, sometimes I force myself to watch funny videos because I take myself out of myself.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden I watch little kids and
Mhm.
cats and it seems so dumb, but it's not because
No,
I can I can just get lost. And that is Sagittarius. So Saturn in Sagittarius, it wants to give you that freedom of experiencing joy of life, but
Right.
somehow, some way, you have impeded your own freedom. And certain times are gonna, kind of, you're gonna bump up against that reminders, but the thing is, everything that's in your chart is in you. So I always find that Saturn's funny that way. Saturn, like limits, but really it's already in you. It's up to us to like let it loose. And that doesn't just have to be in Sagittarius, that's anything. Let it learn from it, and how you're doing that to yourself. You're kind of causing your own suffering. We're
Oh,
not doing
definitely. So
that.
I have definitely been impeding myself. And that's just I'm letting that go. Thank you.
Erica
Yes.
shared a lovely comment that laughing triggers the serotonin. So it's a good way to go ahead and loosen the grip of the boundaries that Saturn tries to impose on a mood or a season.
Well, I do love me some serotonin.
Or you can
Also
try
triggers.
yodeling. If you can't laugh, do some yodeling. That'll make you laugh. And it'll stimulate your vagus nerve.
Yeah. As well
Laughing
as
also.
humming. Yes.
Diane should know all about that as a psychologist.
Well, I was just gonna
right?
say, yeah, it also laughing also triggers oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which
wouldn't
is-
Maybe
yodeling,
that's what I was thinking of.
I was going to say, wouldn't yodeling even make you want to laugh as well? Anyway, because
That's true.
I just
And your
saying.
neighbors too. They'll go, what the hell? Am I in Switzerland?
And if you
Oh,
want to
God.
double down, I think the videos of babies laughing
Oh my
really
gosh.
kind of get people laughing
Oh,
even
I just
harder.
love them. I just love them. Oh my God, I can't get enough of babies laughing or babies anything. I just particularly, it just kind of transports you into a whole different thing.
Mhm.
And you take yourself so seriously and you go, oh my God, this is so funny. This is great.
I just had a flashback to COVID times when we would go out at a certain time and bang on pots
Right, right.
and cheer,
Mhm,
cheer all the
mhm.
the support people, the firefighters, and
Right.
the
Right, yeah.
every night we'd go out there and do that. We would, oh yeah, we would, what does a wolf do? We would howl.
Owl.
We'd howl. And that made you laugh too, right?
Yeah, I remember that. That seems like forever ago, but it was only 5 years. All right, so Diane's got something similar, right? With she's got it at 13 degrees. The eclipse is at 15 degrees, but she's got something similar. She does have Mercury on the other side by 2 degrees. So it's a bit similar, except hers is happening in the third house. So third and sixth. So this is where the eclipse is falling in your sixth house of health, Diane, and it's squaring your Saturn in your third house. So, is there a possibility of where you are somehow in you're limited either by your day-to-day activities, but something having to do with you either, being with friends, being more alive, feeling more alive in your own life, where right now you're kind of, I don't want to say struggling, but you're kind of at a point of, I don't know if I want to go out with my friends. I don't know if I want to talk to so and so on the phone. I don't know if I want to do that as much. So, but the healing that needs to happen and the reflection is in your day to day and accepting and this is, to me, this is a lot of self-care, and I don't use that very often because I think it's overused, but this feels very self-care-ish to me. And being okay with, if you don't feel like, going out with a girlfriend, you know, this is because it's remember, this is a North Node eclipse. So the North Node, the Piscean house, is actually going to be where the good stuff is going to be for you, where the the healing and the help will come. So, you know, I think you've expressed that this is something that you're dealing with currently. And I think you're going to get possibly helped along with that by taking care of your body and taking care of your day to day. So I wouldn't worry too much. I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about the Saturn, um, because I think this is a time where you probably need it. I'm not.
Well, what comes to mind, and I think this may be related, but you can weigh in on it. I was just saying today, because I had surgery a week and a half ago, hysterectomy, major surgery, and it's made me slow down.
Mhm.
Like I couldn't do anything. I was basically just existing.
Yeah.
But it's been really good for me. I've been, I think, too caught up in the day to day and the thinking. And I was having trouble meditating. It was like I couldn't settle in.
Mm-hmm.
And I just today was meditating, going, yes, finally, I'm able to like drop in. So I'm kind of seeing this as and the other thing I really enjoyed was having no responsibility, nothing I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
I have someone who's taking care of me, making meals,
Mm-hmm.
so I could really just rest.
Let go.
Yeah, and let go of needing to be in control of stuff or responsibilities.
And
So,
your energy is needed for your healing.
what's that?
Your energy is needed for your healing.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's amazing. I have done a little bit more yesterday and today, like gone for a walk, gone to the store, and I'm exhausted.
I think
Right.
it's interesting too that Venus in the eclipse is at the 15 degree of Leo that would be in trine to your Saturn at the
Mm,
moment.
hmm
So that's a good sign for now being maybe a little lighter of an experience in the recovery today.
Yeah, yeah. And I just recently made the decision that I'm going to stop working as a therapist. Um,
Whoa.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, that there's something about still even having 8 clients that is a distraction for me because self-care has always been a challenge.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean I won't come back to some kind of healing at some point, but right now,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, toying with it before I found out about, the
Yeah.
cancer, and then it was like that said, okay, time. We don't be
Wow.
carrying
That's
around this burden.
exciting.
It
That's
is exciting.
beautiful. That's beautiful,
Yeah.
Diane. I did that in March this year.
Did
Stopped
Mm.
you?
everything. Yeah. And it's exactly that thing of going, I need to stop brain, like deep brain work and not that it was deep, but just really stop everything for a bit, knowing that maybe there'll be something down
Yeah.
the track. It's so healing. Go you, I say.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
And for me, it's about not having to worry about anyone else
Mm-hmm.
because I've got that Libra stuff going on, and because I'm a Libra rising, and even though my son's in Aries, it's in the seventh house, and so
Mhm.
yeah. So does that sound like it's related to the eclipse energy?
Well, I think,
The
I think that,
easiest way would be whatever we say here now, later on, go ahead and put your chart together with the eclipse chart.
Mm-hmm.
and see what you see all the way around,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a question about my chart. If
Mhm.
you don't mind bringing it back up. Am
Yeah.
I am I mistaken, but is my Chiron a sextile to Saturn?
Okay. Sorry, this bar is in the way. Okay.
16
Chiron.
degrees of Aquarius is definitely in sextile to 13 degrees of Sag. Yes.
I'm just wondering why it doesn't show up as an
Oh,
aspect.
that is only because they just select a few. Otherwise, there would be all
Okay.
these crazy colored marks in the center of the circle. And it gets
Okay.
hard to see where you're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I've been confused by that in a couple sextiles, so that makes sense.
Yep, that's the whole issue. They hit a smattering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
otherwise, in fact, I have been playing around with the idea of not having these lines in the middle like this because half the time I don't look at them, but half the
Mm-hmm.
time I find them helpful. But yes, and sextiles are
Supportive, right?
Yes,
they're
they are
supportive.
supportive.
Absolutely. They're supportive. It's areas where you will have to make effort, but it will be supportive on your side, as opposed to trines, which is a lot like easier. Sextiles is like, you know, uh,
Sextiles are like invitations.
yeah,
You
Okay.
have to take the invitation. You have to accept the invitation.
Okay.
The
which is great.
yeah, but where some call it work, I like to think of it as an invitation. When
Yeah,
you're ready, you'll do it.
yes, exactly. And that's how you have to look at them.
And when you look at what's aspecting the eclipse, do you include things like the ascendant, the north and south node?
Totally. I do. So
Looking at any other chart, whether it's an eclipse or even just the discovery of something new, or you know, like if you were to look at the discovery chart of Eris, you were alive at the time. So taking a look at your chart and the discovery chart of Eris would potentially have a variety of different things that might be hitting you in different places.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's not shocking, you know, and they can be poignant.
very, and it's also, I'm glad you said this, Diane, because you've got to look at uh, the points, the ascendant, the
Mhm.
IC, the descendant, and the MC, uh, because those are very, very important. So if there's an eclipse, if you look at at Marcia's chart right now, if there's an eclipse at 21 Virgo, it's going to be on her midheaven. If it's an eclipse at 3-degree Sag, it's going to be on her ascendant, or 3-degree Gemini. I had an eclipse at 27 degrees, a lunar eclipse in 2021 on my ascendant. And I was thinking it was going to be my body or something. I didn't know how it was going to play out. But my whole life changed. I just got a different job that changed my whole life. It changed my whole life because I then started working from home. My whole life direction became completely different. And you know, I wasn't, I knew it was going to be significant because it was on my ascendant. But those 4 points, I'm super glad that you brought that up because you
Yeah,
cannot
because
dismiss them.
what might be going on at home if you have one on your fourth house test, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And, even if it's close, let's say it's, 5 degrees of Gemini, that's your descendant,
Mm-hmm.
22, 23, 24 of Virgo, you know? Um, so I'm really glad you brought that up. Those points are critical, critical. It's the foundation of the chart. So,
I
thank
think it's also interesting for the planet using the Greenwich time, showing that first house, seventh house emphasis with the interception of an entire sign being swallowed in those houses, because that to me shows a lot of global awareness to deal with interrelational oppositions. How are we confusing what is a self-identity with its responsibilities and freedoms, as opposed to the other and their responsibilities and freedoms? Because that shows there is an intensity of what is being learned when you have that interception on that axis, at least in a natal reading. But this is the natal reading for the eclipse energy to impact the entire planet.
Yeah. So why don't we have a look at Marcia's? Anybody have
Another
some?
person with a Mars return.
That's right. Yes. A Mars return for Rick and Marcia.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
And actually, she's having a nodal return. She's having a nodal return this year or through 2026. Right now, the North Node is at 15 degrees or 14 degrees of Pisces by the time, so right around July, June,
It could be
maybe
26.
maybe or June, May or June of 26. You can have the North Node conjunct your North Node. That's a pretty big time, I find.
Hmm.
I look at that a lot. So, okay. A Mars return. What do we see for Marcia around 15? She's got Saturn at 14. That's not
Mercury in Sag is at 16.
Mercury in Sagittarius at 16, so it's gonna square her Mercury. Which is the ruler of her descendant. I like to look at rulerships in the last year or so. I've been trying to get used to that, and it's great. So and Mercury is in your first house. So what is going on with this is like what you're thinking and learning and taking in, and because the eclipse is in your third house. This is squaring it.
Right.
So what's going on in it could be even like extended family, friendships, I think I don't know, you're studying,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
something where you're being kind of squeezed a little bit or forced to,
I'm curious. I have a question, Marcia. Are you taking more notes lately?
In my homeopathic studies, you mean?
Wherever.
Yes.
Because that Virgo connection with the eclipse being triggering Virgo, even though it's not necessarily at the 21 degree, and having Virgo be so precise and the Mercury rulers in the first, that's what made me think about handwritten documentation, especially into Sagittarius, because it would be more expansive, more higher usage.
Well, it's definitely handwritten documentation, that's for sure.
And higher usage because it's post-secondary education.
Right.
So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that just happened to stumble into my head as I was looking at that dispositor there. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can say there's more of an understanding now of the material for myself.
Mm.
There's definitely more understanding. I just finished a case today. And case done in class, but and I was able to come up with the correct remedy for the patient. A little
Mm.
differently than what the teacher would have done, but I was able to do it through my awareness of the particular,
Idiosyncrasies of the case.
say that again?
Idiosyncrasies of the case.
Yes, yes, yes.
And because I'm seeing attention to detail with the Virgo priority.
Yeah, the specifics of the case, and
Yes.
not needing a lot, tell you the truth. Not needing a lot.
Just the precise choices.
Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 And I wasn't surprised, actually. I mean, I did the work that I need to do to get the particular remedy for the patient, but I wasn't surprised, when Dr. Hershey comes back with his analysis and so on, I wasn't surprised because I felt, okay, I understand this patient and I understand the qualities more,
Mhm.
and it has to do with the person more than the situation, really. The
Mhm.
case was about a little girl with constant hiccups.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah, constant, unceasing hiccups. And so it was really looking at more of what her personality was like, and certain things that certain, they're called modalities that make up her. And so that's really the things that I kind of went with, because the hiccups, there wasn't that much represented. And even Dr. Hurst, you talked about it, that it's not that overly representative in the books that we need to find it in, but for some reason. But anyway, it was a good feeling.
It's awesome. How interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It really is.
It reminds me of how
Yeah.
Virgo linking with the mind, I believe, when using a sixth sense, would very much be given to a type of claircognizance where it is the mind that goes into an intuitive faculty. So you're not just seeing a word like clairvoyance or hearing it like clairaudience. You're just becoming aware. This is the answer.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And yes, and getting to understand more too of kind of the framework, if you will.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. That's fascinating.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Let's see if Linda's got anything. Linda Jordan, if she's got anything really hitting, influencing her closely with this eclipse. So, 15 Pisces. Sorry, I can't see what I'm doing because
So
of
the
this.
North Node there is at 8 degrees of Pisces. Not
Yeah, so I remember the last time we talked to Linda, we had some stuff that came up around the home and we were unsure of what that looked like. But it doesn't have to be just the home. The fourth house covers a lot. I encourage people to really, there's certain like,
a family tree, and ancestors can certainly be connected as well. I always look at the psyche.
definitely the emotional self, the self that is not that practical, doer, but the more the being and the feeling and the intuit. And I remember last time we had a conversation around this, she pricked up, she went, "Oh God." It was hilarious. Anyway, that's where the action is. That's where the action is for this eclipse. It's in the fourth house. You're also like Marcia, where you're going to have a nodal return right around, spring of next year. Then the nodes will be going back to where they were when you were born, in the fourth house. So something around the fourth house is becoming really prominent for you this year and next year, the first half of next year. Do we have anything? around
Well, the
15?
Mars in the eclipse chart looks like it's close to her Neptune, her natal Neptune. That's interesting. So, could this be bringing light to the awareness of navigating your own boundaries? Keeping more, or would it be making them a little lighter because it's Neptunian?
Mm-hmm. And it's around, maybe, stuff with work, related to a bigger, like the organization, the school, you know,
Could be with friends too, because it's the 11th house
um,
for professional organizations of a larger nature.
yeah, yeah.
There's all of that going on. We have a new president and a new academic vice president and a whole new direction. And it's like, you know, and then I come home and I can't get off the couch. And so that's the other problem. I'm just like, oh, so not motivated to do anything. So I don't know
Yeah.
where if the eclipse is responsible for that, but something got to give here.
Well,
Mhm.
because your work is post-secondary education and Cancer is on the 9th house, I wonder if you are moved about through all the lunations,
What?
because whatever's happening to the moon will affect your experience in college, even though you're not the student.
Oh, you're always the student.
But
That's
we
the-
would often not think of that just as, you would also have that same energy because it is your workplace.
Yeah, it's kind of like how, I said this in the academic senate the other day. I said, these people that are running the school, they're wonderful. This is not a complaint or a lament or anything. We were just named one of the top 10 schools with a dining hall in the state. All the colleges and universities. We're up there with Penn State and all the other schools because we have an amazing dining hall. We do. The food is amazing. But it's just like all of a sudden we're on the map everywhere. She's in magazines. There's these things. All this stuff's happening. It's just like explosive. It's explosive. You know. And
Hmm.
like in the country, the president represents the country, the president represents the university. And it's not just some, astrologically speaking, it's not just a figurehead person. It's that personality starts to imbue everything. And it's
Yes.
like, and she is like, honestly, she sends everybody birthday cards. She's like, she makes me tired. We're like, oh my God. And we're all on these committees and stuff. And it's like, okay, but then I come home and I don't know what's wrong with me. So, you know, does the eclipse say anything about why I'm laying on the couch and don't want to do anything, like water my plants or any of that stuff? Any thoughts on that?
I was just going to say, Linda, maybe you're just tired.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That could be.
I'm serious. There's probably more, but I'm just thinking, you have a pretty full-on life, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a softball playoff on Sunday.
Oh,
It's a
There you go.
championship. And then basketball starts on Monday. So it's like I don't even get done one sport done, then the next one starts. So yeah, I'd say I'm pretty full. And then of course last week was terrible. We had a cyber attack and
Oh,
we couldn't get at any of our stuff. It was like the first week of school and
Wow.
you
That's
know,
a big deal. That's a big deal.
it
maybe
is.
it's just because school has started and now you're on a different schedule and it's hard to change
Routines.
routines like that. And it's even hard when you're a little kid, let alone when you're grown up and you get older. You need more rest when you're older, and we don't do that for ourselves. We think we should just
That's true.
Stay young forever and keep on going and have exactly the same energy and
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the
do
things about
everything the same like we used to, which is complete BS.
Yeah.
well, one of the things about me in summer is I'm like a little kid in the summer. I don't have a schedule. In the
That's
summer, I'm like,
wonderful.
I just do what I want to do. And a lot of times I just read a book. And so maybe I'm sort of clinging on to that too, just
Yeah,
wanting
it's
to hold,
too much
wanting
of
to
It's
a
hold,
big
fine.
change.
wanting to hold
Yes.
on to that.
It's totally fine.
It's like jumping off the cliff afterwards,
Yeah.
into the deep pool. It's like now you have to
Yeah.
swim.
But I also think there's a collective exhaustion in the United States
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Oh my
Oh, that
God.
Oh
might
my
be
God.
true.
It's absolutely
Yes.
exhausting. And, we got 3.5 more years of this nut job, and so we have to keep our strength. We have to keep strong. And
We
so,
think we do. We don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say
well,
that.
that's true.
I
That's
can't
true.
see that. I don't know, like, unless maybe he's an AI version, how he's still walking and talking with his lifestyle. Honest to God,
He's
No.
on he's on Ozempic or
Healthy and
something
we're
now.
tired. How the hell
Is
does
he
do
really?
it?
Oh, you can
And he
tell he's
doesn't sleep.
losing weight.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
His
And unless he had
telomeres
something
must be
really
like
wrong.
2 centimeters long.
Mm, it's
He's
Well,
so not well. He's so
Oh.
not well on so many levels.
No,
He's
he's
just
not.
oh my
not well.
God. No. Sometimes I remember watching him years ago on that game show. What was it?
The Apprentice.
Yeah.
I
And
never watched
sometimes
it.
I think I can't believe he's the president. He's the actual president of the USA.
The
I thought
so-called
that we
president.
figured this out back in the 80s when we thought Ross Perot should not be. I thought that was all we needed. That
That's
Ross
right.
Perot should have given us the hint.
Well,
Don't
we had
do
Ronald
this.
Reagan. He was an actor, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
oh
But he could at least act presidential.
Yeah, but it was still an act.
But
But he was
thinking
definitely
that
more presidential in this one. This is, I mean, I can't even believe it. He's like a caricature.
Well,
To
our
me, he's like a
civilization
caricature.
has gone down the toilet so that we can recreate it.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, Linda,
We just have to
I'm
flush
curious
and
how
start
this
all over again.
I'm curious how this eclipse and the one following it might affect our government.
well, it
Yeah.
would be interesting. Do you happen to have the US chart to pull up?
let me see if I have it somewhere.
Well, it's
It
Virgo
would-
and Pisces, and look at what they're doing to our health care.
it
Uh,
would be
Look
the
at who's
Sibley
in
chart.
charge.
Yeah, it might be simply listed as the US
That's the
Sibley chart.
health, right? And the compassion.
Yeah. I have it somewhere, but let me see if I can find it here.
But I think this eclipse is going to uncover a lot of secrets.
Epstein.
Yeah, well, it started to come out
It's already
yesterday. That's for
started.
sure.
It started.
Yeah, it started. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that might give old Donald Trump a stroke when his name comes out in that.
And
I-
the fact that the fact that they're going
certainly.
to put the list together, the women are going to put the list together
Oh.
of names, and even though they're saying they're not going to tell anyone yet, there'll be a lot of freaked out blokes,
Yeah.
men.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
what they were saying about Ghislaine, like, how dare you put her in this
Ah.
minimum security place? We don't, and you never even asked us or anything. You've never respected us. And the FBI used to make fun of them when they came out when they were teenagers, accusing these men. They turn around and turn these girls into the criminals rather than the people that they were reporting. So this is a really big mess involving the police, the FBI, these men, Ghislaine, Epstein, the whole culture,
Yeah.
Those the Saturn Uranus conjunction is down there on the fourth house cusp. that's definitely having a homeland change.
Saturn Uranus conjunction.
Yeah, it's right here. It's really right on the cusp of the fourth
Mhm.
house. Exactly. And this is going to kick up again heavily next year when there's the actual conjunction.
And we've just had the Pluto return in the past, what, 18 months?
Yeah,
And there's, so Pluto is not far from its natal position at all.
not at all. No.
And Uranus and Sedna are conjoined right now in the 6th house of the US Sibley chart, making Uranus totally just scream the feminine ills. And in some regards, possibly more vehemently than Eris, because of the nature of the mythology of Sedna. I would suggest taking a look at some of those. You can find short videos from 7 to 12 minutes, a variety of them, and they highlight a bunch of different ghastly, ugly iterations
Mm-hmm.
of the story where, as a creator goddess, she is just fed up with cultural norms, the imposition of needing to get married and being forced to marry a monster. It's really a very intriguing energy to have blended with Uranus, knowing that people are coming out and speaking up.
Is she the
Wow.
one whose father cut off her fingers
Yes,
and
well,
threw them in the water and then they turned into all the creatures of the ocean and stuff like that?
yes.
And
That's when she was trying to crawl back into the boat.
oh, so he cut her fingers off.
Yes, so she couldn't get back into the boat. So it was essentially, you need to go down.
Yeah, the women are trying to climb back into the boat and they've just had their fingers cut off. Like you die. People die,
Mm-hmm.
like Joni Ernst said.
Well, yeah, and
Right.
what happens when you lose your fingers? Your capacity to work, to do things, is infringed upon.
Mm.
But
Mm-hmm.
Sedna still has a voice.
Mm.
Their power may be limited, but their voice is expressive.
Wow. Thank you. See, Rick always
Exciting
brings me the
times,
astral.
but it's nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah.
You
What
just
was
have
that?
to believe that, in the end, what is it from that movie about the perfect Marigold Hotel in India? He said everything will be fine in the end, and if it's not fine yet, it's because it's not the end yet.
Yes, that's right.
And it all worked out in the end, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we stay on for a minute? But I want to thank our YouTubers for joining us. This evening took a turn, but that's okay. We go with the energy, and that's all we can do. Join us next time, on the 18th.
18th.
Yes, and we will. I have a feeling we're going to continue eclipse conversation, but we'll be talking about the divine masculine. So thank you, and we will see you soon.
Thank you. Very nice
Feel
evening.
free to hold on to and not sign off.